to Afters with Joe and Chelsea. This is our final episode on gut health.
Yep, final episode, so 7th episode in total. This is all about digestible advice.
Yes, we're just going to give you all the tips that we've used and things that you can take into your everyday life when you're food shopping, etc., thinking of recipes. Easy tips that if you want to use, you can.
Yeah, so we've got a few myths we want to bust. We've then got what we've learned, as Charles said, and then advice that we can give you.
Yeah.
So, do you want to start with a myth bust, or do you want me to?
I'll let you go and then I'm just going to flow.
Okay, so one thing we've learnt from the journey of self-discovery with our gut health and digestion, etc., is around bread. So I don't know how you feel about this, but when you were younger, I always thought that brown bread was healthier.
That's what you were told, yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that white bread was really bad for you. Well, not really bad, but it was the unhealthier option out of the two.
Yeah. You want to be healthy, eat brown bread.
Now, that started to kind of get questioned when I grew up, and you then kind of start to get told, well, all bread's not that good for you if you have too much of it.
And then came the whole gluten
intolerance thing, yeah.
Saga, which I feel like is still going on.
Yeah, still going on. That's another conversation. But the whole thing around bread, that you then would go to university and you're out by yourself for the first time, and you've got to make that food shop last the week and get that money in to survive. You're then buying bread that you're either freezing or you're buying very cheap bread that is got a very long shelf life.
About a week.
Like I remember being in Aldi and meticulously going through to check the date of the bread to make sure that I've got it on the day. Yeah, that's the longest. Now in my head, I'm choosing this great multi-grain loaf. I'm choosing the best of both. I'm choosing the healthier option. It's absolutely rubbish, because what we have learned that
here comes the myth bust.
Bread that has a shelf life of more than 2 days a day has got so many things added to it that are ruining your gut health. So things that have a shelf life of 4 or 5 days on the shelves in the supermarket, they are getting pumped full of preservatives. They're getting added oils that don't need to be in there. These emulsifiers that then are just really...
It allows the product to last so much longer in your fridge, in your cupboards, but it is ruining your gut microbiome. And that is where a lot of people think that they have a gluten intolerance.
Yeah.
And it's not the wheat that they are intolerant to, it's all of these oils and emulsifiers and everything else that's pumped into products like bread to make them last longer.
Yeah, just the science behind it is ridiculous, and we are just getting blindsided by all these marketing companies, these supermarkets that what to kind of buy is healthy.
Is not the enemy.
No.
What is put into bread to make it last longer is the enemy.
So what we have found, and we spoke to many people about this, how excited we get when we talk about bread, about how nice it is to get a freshly baked loaf of bread from your bakery, from your supermarket, that will only last a day, but one, it tastes unbelievably good, and two, it's so much healthier for you. And it kind of goes back to, we've had a conversation about this before, about people want to have bread and they enjoy when they have fresh bread. But back in the day, you would only get that maybe once, twice, 3 times a week, because
you'd have to go to the baker.
We'd have to go to the baker to get it, because it would only last a certain amount of time. Now, that kind of proposes a new problem in the modern day and age, that people want convenience. They want stuff to last longer when they buy this product, if you had £1, £1.50, 5 dirham to get a loaf of bread, and they said, oh, this will last you 3 days, 4 days, this will last you 1 day, you've got a family of children, people in your household, the majority of people are going to go for that because it's more cost effective. But I guarantee now people know, or some people who are listening now know this, that can be a thing you can change that's going to improve your gut health, and it's just going to...
If you're having issues with what you think is wheat, maybe switch to fresh bread and not have it as much, because obviously you'd have to buy more of it and see what that does before you go gluten-free.
Yeah, and you just appreciate it a lot more, and you enjoy it, and you really think about your meals. Like, we have it with soup, we have it with some other meals like chili, we have maybe a fresh baguette on the weekend when we're living up our Dubai life on the beach. Shout out to the people at home in the drowsy, horrible, miserable weather.
That's so mean.
Sorry. But yeah, that was one of my biggest gut busting, myth busting things about gut health that needs to be talked about more, I think. What about you?
I think for me the biggest thing, because I feel really passionate about this, is being told that something is good for you because it's reduced fat, it's 0 calories, it's no sugar, it's only 100 calories. You know, you get these snacks in the supermarkets. And I think the biggest myth busting thing for me is, instead of reading what's on the front of packets, because let's face it, these big food companies want you to buy these products, just turn it over and have a look at the ingredients on the back. If there is more than 10 ingredients, it is not good for you, even if there's 100 calories in it, or there's no sugar, or there's no fat. Not good for your gut at all. And if it's just full of ingredients that you have no idea what they are, what they mean, put it down. Like, your gut is not going to thank you because you put something in your body that's just 100 calories, but it's full of stuff that you have no idea what it is. Your gut is not happy in that situation. So I think that is a good myth buster. Just because on the front it says it's healthy, it's a good snack, it's only 100 calories, just flip it around and make your own decision.
Yeah, there's more to be said, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah, good one. I've got one more, potentially two. One of the biggest things that has made me think recently about nutrition and the timing of your food and your meals has been breakfast. So we've been told that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It sets you up for the day. All these big,
great,
nice Kellogg's. You can't survive the day without your breakfast. It's rubbish. I think we have mentioned it previously in the other episodes, but the point is that you actually need to do what's right for your body, and majority of people need that time for their gut to reset. So if you are waking up and you're eating straight away, and you've had a late night of eating as well, and you've only had a certain amount of sleep, so maybe 7-8 hours sleep, you are not giving your gut enough time to reset and recover from that previous day of eating. So although breakfast may be an important meal of the day to some people, or a lot of people, it doesn't have to be when you wake up. You can give yourself time to recover and allow yourself to eat when you're actually hungry. Some people are hungry when they wake up. And
I know I've had it before, this gut journey. You know, I'm eating what is advertised as a healthy breakfast, for example, porridge, whatever I mix in with it, and I still feel bloated or a bit lethargic, and it's not giving me the energy that it's supposed to, when actually, you know, alongside the gut-friendly food, giving my body enough time from finishing eating to actually like cleanse itself before I have my breakfast. Even if I then eat porridge again, I'm not having that same feeling and confused that I'm eating healthily, why is it not having the benefits that it should? There is also that giving your body enough time and eating when it actually needs it that accompanies the gut-friendly food.
Yeah, and that comes into a lot of the journey we've been on with fasting as well, doesn't it? With like when we've chosen to kind of start our first meal of the day, which will be explored a bit more when we go into nutrition. One of our
so much to talk about.
Next topics. We could talk about a lot of myths being busted, I think, but we'll leave it there for that.
You said you had 2. You don't want to.
No, I'll leave it.
Okay.
Because I'll go off on a tangent.
Oh, the suspense.
And we'll be here for a while.
Okay.
So, what have we learnt about gut health? What have we learnt? What's been the biggest kind of takeaways that we've kind of been on to then go on to the advice and implement that people can take away from this?
I think the biggest thing for me is, because I've come into this having had quite bad gut issues for, a very long time. And there are other external factors which we'll probably touch upon in the future that have played a role to that. But actually understanding more about foods. So the variety of food that's out there, I'm a vegetarian, but I still had the impression that it's fruit and veg when you say plants. But actually, plants are a whole variety of food. And the biggest takeaway for me is just like exploring, like understanding more fruit and veg, understanding more plants and how you can incorporate them into your diet and how you incorporate it in a way that your body needs.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like you from your gut can tell a lot about what your body needs and what you need, what sort of nutrition you need for the day and whatever your job is, whatever your activities are. And I think instead of looking at it like, oh well, I need that protein, I need that energy. Well, that's brilliant, but what does your gut need? How does it need to be treated for you to be able to do those things, to be able to have the energy, to have the protein to build and repair your muscles?
And I think as well, like a big takeaway is understanding just how diverse your gut is supposed to be. And, I don't remember ever learning about all the good bacteria that you're supposed to have in your gut and what it does for you, and the fact that you need that balance. I've never really learned about that. And understanding that, it sets you up to look at food from a what is this doing to me internally, rather than is this deemed healthy and is it going to give me that figure that I keep seeing on social media? It just completely changes the narrative, and I think that's what's so good about it.
Yeah, massively. I think we've both been through years of knowing food that will upset our stomach and still eating anyway, because we didn't really have the knowledge of why it's doing that.
Shock. I don't eat bananas. I can't eat bananas because they hurt my stomach. Even on this gut journey, they still give me that icky feeling. I might have, if I have any in my yogurt, treat myself to gut pain. I might have like 3 or 4 like little slices of the banana.
Yeah.
To a lot of people, they're like, bananas are healthy food, so you should eat them.
Yeah.
But I don't react well to bananas, so I would choose a kiwi in my yogurt over banana.
Yeah.
And it's that changing that narrative. I'm not eating this because I'm told that it's healthy and I have to eat it because it's a fruit.
What works for you?
I'm choosing a different fruit because that sits better with me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of it. Like, it's not, these are your fruit and veg, you must eat all of these. It's what responds well to your body. What do you need? What works for you?
So true. Yeah, we kind of can't keep saying it enough, like how everyone is so different and different people need different things. And what I think has been the most eye-opening thing about gut health for me is how much it does affect everything to do with your body. So mentally and physically. So how much the things you're ingesting can affect your mood, and what you're not ingesting is affecting your mood. So you, for example, you turn to bad ultra-processed food when you're in a low mood, or you're tired, or you're craving those bad foods, and that hit of like the bad food will have that initial like pleasure and happiness release of dopamine, and then it will just drop, and you'll go into this even worse state of regret, and that's all around your gut. Like the gut is not liking what you're putting into it, and that's releasing these messages to the toxins to the cells that then get transported around your body. I can't really
that's what
too much about it.
They say the bacteria, like Tim Spector touched upon it. It's when you put those ultra processed foods in your body, those bacteria that are supposed to be nourished and balanced are giving off toxins because they're not being given the right nutrients to work properly. And when they are, they give off the right, not toxins, but fumes, whatever.
The way it affects your sleep, the way it affects your health, your energy, is well, I've never kind of like viewed it as this hub of everything. I viewed it as, oh well, sometimes I get an achy belly, or my waist isn't very nice after a big takeaway, or a bit of discomfort here when I eat that food. But it's so much more than that. It's part of everything for your day-to-day life, and it's so important you get it right. And what I've found is it can improve so many areas of life as well. And I've said previously, it has improved my physical appearance so much more than any other nutrition journey I've been on. I don't like to call it a diet because that implies that it's a short-term fix. But my diet has changed, my lifestyle has changed, and therefore I've seen the benefits of that in my physical appearance and my energy levels and things like that. And if that can be something that works for people at home, give it a go. Like go and explore gut health, go and explore the food you're eating, see if it can make a positive change. If it doesn't, great, okay, find something different. But I
think like a tip, just a really simple tip would be, try and when you go shopping, if you get to the end and you've got quite a lot of packaged things, try and replace 2 a week of those packaged things with a whole food.
So give us an example.
So for example, put me on the spot here. So for example, bread. So maybe switch your long-lasting bread with like a sourdough, for example, or you
buy lazy garlic or lazy kind of herb or spice that has already been cut for you. Just buy it fresh.
Or for example, something really simple, you buy sauces for whatever, for a bolognese, for chili, for pasta, whatever.
Make it yourself.
So instead of picking up that, maybe switch it. I'm the tomato sauce queen, aren't I?
One thing you can do, my love.
One thing. Switch that out so you get a can of tomatoes. I won't say make your own can of tomatoes because that is a bit extra.
Oh, you have done
I do like to do that, but it's probably not the everyday person thing. So buy a can of tomatoes, buy an onion, a pepper, some garlic, and create your own, put some herbs in there, play around with it. Tomato sauce is so easy, you can't really go wrong with it. And you have already given yourself 3 or 4 different plants that you're eating that week. And you've removed a load of sugar and E numbers just by putting that jar back and picking up some whole ingredients.
Yeah.
I think that's a really simple thing to do.
Yeah, it's a small change, isn't it?
Yeah.
That you can implement and see a big difference, I think. Yeah, we're on to the advice and tips that we're going to round off our gut-friendly journey on for these episodes. I think to look after your gut, the biggest tip of advice for me would be to limit the amount of ultra-processed foods you are consuming a week.
Yeah. Can we just go over ultra-processed, processed and whole food, just so there's no confusion? Because I think maybe we've just been talking about it, but we've not really explained.
Okay.
So whole food is one ingredient. That is the food. So tomato is a tomato.
Yeah.
For example, sometimes I would make a tin of tomatoes myself, and the ingredients in that is just a load of tomatoes. Whole food, one ingredient.
Yeah.
Then you've got your processed food, which is not necessarily bad for you. It's just not an original ingredient. So, for example, like milk, butter.
Yes, it's been happening for hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years, yeah.
Processing food, like they've done it.
That's how they created bread and cakes.
Yeah, and butter and things that help to build a diet, isn't it?
Yeah. And now in today's society, you've got your ultra-processed food, which is where the food has no resemblance whatsoever to the original ingredient. For example?
So either like a corn tortilla wrap or a tortilla chip, like crisp. So you're taking corn, which is
a whole
ingredient, a small piece of corn from a corn on the cob or from corn in the field, and you're then refining it, processing it, putting it through lots of different processes where you're taking out elements of that food. So you might remove some fibre, you might remove some other nutrients, and then you add other nutrients to it, and then you create a completely different product from it. So, for example, a Dorito crisp would be, or a tortilla chip crisp would be so highly calorific. We'll get into calories another time. per triangle, but that has been taken from a completely different physical form.
Yeah.
So the kind of process that's been through is just really, really not pleasant for your gut, because your gut is getting this nutrient in the form it comes in and going, whoa, what's happened here? Like, this is meant to be corn and it's not. It's all these different things added to it. But obviously when you're physically eating it, you don't feel full, there's that addictive taste to it, there's the texture, all these things that
there's a lot of science put into these ultra processed products to make them taste a certain way, which stimulates you eating more and buying more.
Yeah.
Like, that is the science behind ultra processed food.
Yeah.
You're not.
We're going to find you. In the labs.
You're never going to be able to. There will be a handful of people that can live their life without any ultra processed food whatsoever. However, for the everyday person, it's not realistic.
No.
But understanding the difference between whole processed and ultra processed, and reducing your ultra processed food intake is a great way to help your gut. Definitely.
Huge. I was going to say about rethinking the timing of your first meal of the day, but we kind of mentioned that in the myth busting part.
Yeah, I think just a little bit of background. They say, what do they say? It takes.
What?
Is it 14 hours? Or is it 10 hours?
14 to go from.
Yeah, so for your body to naturally fully restore the gut. So I think it's after 10 hours that you have these little enzymes that come in and essentially like clean the lining of your gut, so it reduces inflammation, it completely resets everything from the day before. And that is kind of the science behind it, isn't it? That's why, and I think that's where the whole fasting thing comes in, isn't it?
Yeah, I think as well. As I said earlier, like you've got to see what works for you in terms of like what food you are first putting in your body when you wake up. I feel like yogurt for me, and you as well, sits really well with me as a first food to give back to my body, because it gives me that setting up for the rest of the day of what are the foods I can put in my body. Whereas if I started the day off with, I don't know, a very starchy piece of bread or a very sugary drink or cereal or whatever it is, that isn't going to help my gut, and therefore it's going to affect my energy levels and my ability to go through the day, and I'll probably end up eating worse if that's the case. Whereas I live a very mundane diet plan. Throughout the week I eat the same thing for breakfast and dinner. Breakfast and lunch every single day. It's just the dinners differ. Now that's not going to work for everyone. People,
I can't stand that. But I don't know why, but like.
But no, but it's human nature, isn't it? You want different, like you want a variation.
Yeah, and I also feel like with hormones as well, like I just crave different things at different times.
But advice to you guys at home: just reconsider the timing of your first meal. Are you actually hungry, or are you doing it because society is telling you need to have it before you go to work? And
which I think leads into a myth bust, because when you hear the name, especially as an everyday person, fasting, you think, why am I skipping meals? Why would I do that? That doesn't sound very appealing to me. But actually, fasting is about understanding the window in which your body needs to do certain things and can do certain things without food. Which doesn't necessarily mean skipping a meal, it just means eating a little bit later.
Yeah, massively. And then, like we said, think about the type of food you're eating and see what works for you.
If you take anything from this, just have a look at the ingredients of things that you put in your trolley.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a good example, or a good analogy. You're putting something in your body, and we put things on the body. We don't even we don't understand what that is.
What it is.
But it's just part of our society. Oh well, it's
Yeah, like imagine going like for a procedure or for like something at the doctor's, and they're like, right, I'm gonna have to put this in you. I inject it, and you go, okay, what's it for? Well, I'm not too sure what it does.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
To the body, but it will make you feel good.
Yeah, it's you just like when you have that light bulb moment, you're like, oh right, yeah. Well, what is that?
Yeah.
You could have this blasé, don't care attitude. Oh, it's a cookie. I love cookies. I do love cookies, but. And there is these like little things where you're like, okay, I know it's not good for me, but I'm just going to eat it anyway. But what we're trying to say is, can you do that on a more consistent scale of like, right, okay, I could pick that up. I could pick that jar of tomato sauce for my pasta, or I could look at the ingredients and go, okay, what's that E number for then? Why is there
what
palm
does hydroxyluminum mean?
Yeah, nice. What's this oil doing in here? Why is there traces of this? Like there doesn't need to be that. I could spend an extra 10 minutes cooking and making that sauce myself that I know the ingredients for.
And if anybody comes back and says I don't have time for an extra 10 minutes, you are lying. You are lying.
Yeah, she feels very passionate about that, I think. No, the time is prioritising. Yeah. But yeah, that's the end of our kind of gut health topic around what microbiome and what you can be doing and what we've learned and what you can take away from it.
Yeah.
Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope we've busted a lot of myths. And
if there's any other myths you would like busting, please get in touch and we will if we know, we will bust it for you.
Yeah, we will. We are going to be moving on to our new topic next week, which is going to be around mental health.
Yes.
To help combat it and what has worked for us, and just get that conversation out there, really.
I think it's an important one as well, because obviously coming up to Christmas, there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of buzz, and then
bam.
And then, you know, you've got the January blues, you've got the post-Christmas blues. So I think it's a good time to get this out there.
Yeah, and it does affect everyone.
It does, yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for your support. Please keep liking, subscribing, sharing, whatever you can do to help carry on supporting us, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.